Hey y'all, and welcome to the new book releases for the week of May the 16th, 15th, 16th, you know what I mean. This week we have a few sequel books coming out, sequels, duology things. I had quite a bit of those this week. So I'm excited. Let's get into this because there's one, it's probably gonna be the first one, that I really want to try to read now. I haven't read the first one, but I think this is a before the first one kind of situation. You'll understand in a minute. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here. I'm Morgan, and let's talk about some books. First up is going to be the Sci-Fi Fractal Noise by Christopher Polini. This is going to, well, now it's becoming the Fractalverse series, though I had really heard it was a duology. The other book in the series being To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which had so much praise last year or the year before. It says, and I really don't remember which description this is for, but it says, Kira Navarez dreamed of life on new worlds. Now she's awakened a nightmare. During a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first, she's delighted, but elation soon turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined. Events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While Kira faces down her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now, Kira might be humanity's greatest and final hope. Like I said, I don't remember if that's for this one or for the other one. Okay, then we will do our fantasy of the week, which this one just sounds really, really cool and different. It's called Flight of 1,000 Embers by P.N. Vang. It says, a war to erupt, a kingdom to bleed, a curse to consume. Ysera has been divided since the banishment of magic in the kingdoms. Exile or death is the only option for those discovered. Now, terror spreads as the Emperor declares war upon the kings. For Narwin Malancy of Argotora, her power to command the storm has forced her into a life of secrecy. Her dream of becoming a warrior has crumbled. As she navigates her new path, she finds it tainted with shadows, deception, and death. Splinter Bardazan serves as a city guard, but wields fire in his flesh. Yet his task grows burdensome as he questions his purpose. When he and Narwin discover a man killed by magic, they are forced to uncover the truth behind the rumors of a magical onslaught. Amid investigations, Guy Renzel's rash and impulsive methods cause a rift among his peers. Fraught with his duties as well as his troubled conscience, Guy must see past his pride or watch the kingdom succumb to an eternal winter. Meanwhile, Princess Ryla of the Zide Empire challenges her father's war with the West. The dagger at his side is driving him deeper into madness, with whispers consuming his mind. Ryla knows the voices are not human, nor are they divine, and they have returned to Ysera with a taste for blood and souls. So yeah, I just really liked that one when I read it, so I wanted to share it because it sounds cool. Now we'll move into the YA fantasy with this first one receiving, all the reviews that I saw under the book were very high. There's not very many yet, but the fact that still all of the early ones are high, I think that's a good sign. It's called The Sparrows Who Dream by J.R. Bilia. What if the chosen one isn't the savior the prophecy has promised? Despite her years of rigorous training, 17-year-old Princess River doesn't seem to be the ruler her people were promised. One that can lead the armies to victory against the ancient magical race, the Spiritans. Instead, she is a 17-year-old whose anxieties cause her ability to rule to be constantly brought into question. With war at the tipping point, River's mother has sent her on one final mission to ensure she is ready to fulfill the prophecy that predicts the annihilation of the Spiritan race. She must kill the dethroned prince who has leaked military secrets to the Spiritans. Kai Sparrow, the Spiritan heir, has spent his life following his father's orders while plotting a rebellion against the reign of terror on the humans. But when he is commanded to kill Princess River, Kai is determined to find a way out from under his father's dominance. When River and Kai's paths collide, River must choose her mother's war or the enemy's offering peace. So, it's got a bunch of elements that sound like it could turn into something. And our next YA fantasy is a sequel novel. It is Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. This is the sequel to Little Thieves, which came out last year, which the cover for them is just so intriguing. Once upon a time, there was a horrible girl. Vanja Schmidt knows that no gift is freely given, not even a mother's love, and she's on the hook for one hell of a debt. Vanja, the adopted goddaughter of Death and Fortune, was Princess Giselle's dutiful servant up until a year ago. That's when Vanja's otherworldly mothers demanded a terrible price for their care, and Vanja decided to steal her future back by stealing Giselle's life for herself. The real Giselle is left a penniless nobody while Vanja uses an enchanted string of pearls to take her place. Now, Vanja leads a lonely but lucrative double life as princess and jewel thief, charming nobility while emptying their coffers up to fund her great escape. Then, one heist away from freedom, Vanja crosses the wrong god and is cursed to an untimely end, turning into jewels stone by stone for her greed. Vanja has just 2 weeks to figure out how to break her curse and make her getaway. And with a feral guardian half-god, Giselle's sinister fiancé, and an overeager junior detective on Vanja's tail, she'll have to pull the biggest grift yet to save her own life. I don't know. The covers, they look interesting. I don't know. Our next one is another sequel. This is the sequel to Ballad and Dagger that came out last year, and it is called The Last Canto of the Dead by Danielle Jose Older. In the first book, it says, almost 16 years old, Mateo Matisse's island homeland disappeared into the sea. Weary and hopeless, the survivors of San Madrigal's sinking escaped to New York. While the rest of his tight-knit Brooklyn diaspora community dreams of someday finding a way back home, Mateo, now high school junior and piano prodigy living with his 2 aunts, one who's alive, the other who's not so much, is focused on getting the attention of a locally grown musical legend, Juraval. Mateo finally gets his chance on the night of the Grand Fete, an annual party celebrating the blended cultures of pirates, Cuban santeros, and Sephardic Jews that created San Madrigal all those centuries ago. But the evil that sank their island has finally caught up with him, and on the night of the celebration, Mateo's life is forever changed when he witnesses the brutal murder by a person he thought he knew. Suddenly, Mateo is thrust into an ancient battle that spans years and oceans. Deadly secrets are unraveled, and Mateo awakens a power within himself, a power that not only links him to the killer, but could also hold the key to unlocking the dark mystery behind his lost homeland. From there, we will go into the fiction genre with Close to Home by Michael Magee. Sean's brother Anthony is a hard man. When they were kids, their ma did their best to keep him out of trouble, but you can't say anything to Anto. Sean was supposed to be different. He was supposed to leave and never come back. But Sean does come back. Arriving home after university, he finds Anthony's drinking is worse than ever. Meanwhile, the jobs in Belfast have vanished. Sean's decree isn't worth the paper it's written on, and no one will give him the time of day. One night, he loses control and assaults a stranger at a party, and everything is tipped into chaos. Close to Home witnesses the aftermath of that night as Sean attempts to make sense of who he has become and to reckon with the relationships that have shaped him for better or worse. Drawing from his own experiences, Michael Magee examines the forces that keep young working-class men in harm's way in a debut novel that shines with intelligence and humanity on every page. Then our next one is a historical fiction/mystery. This one sounded kind of funny, just the way it's portrayed. A Novel Disguised by Samantha Larson. 1784 London. Miss Tiffany Woodall didn't murder her half-brother, but she did bury him in the back garden so that she could keep her cottage. Now, the confirmed spinster has to pretend to be Uriah and fulfill his duties as the Duke of Beaufort's librarian while searching Aswell Palace for Uriah's missing diamond pin, the only thing of value that they own. Her ruse is almost up when she is discovered by Mr. Samir Lathrop, the local bookseller, who tries to save her from drowning while she's actually just washing up in the lake after burying her brother. Her plan is going by the book until the rector proposes marriage and she starts to develop feelings for Mr. Lathrop. But when her childhood friend, Tess, comes to visit, Tiffany quickly realizes her secret isn't the only one hidden in these walls. The body of a servant is found, along with a collection of stolen items, and someone else grows mysteriously ill. Can Tiffany solve these mysteries without her own disguise being discovered? If not, she'll lose her cottage and possibly her life. Our next one is an actual thriller, and this is called The Lie Maker by Linwood Barclay. Your dad's not a good person. Your dad killed people, son. These were some of the last words Jack Given's father spoke to him before he was whisked away by the witness protection, leaving Jack and his mother to pick up the shattered pieces of their lives as best they could. Years later, Jack is a grown man with problems of his own. He's a talented but struggling author, barely scraping by on the royalties from his moderately successful first book. So when the U.S. Marshals approach him with a lucrative opportunity, he's in no position to turn them down. They're recruiting writers like Jack to create false histories for people in witness protection, people like Jack's father. The coincidence is astonishing to Jack at first, but he soon realizes that this may be a chance to find his dad. Only there's one problem. Jack's father hasn't made contact with his handlers recently, and they have no idea where he is. He could be in serious danger, and Jack may be the only one who can find him. But how will he find a man he's never truly known? A man who has done terrible things in his lifetime and made some deadly enemies in the process. Enemies who wouldn't think twice about using his own son against him. And our last book of the week in genre is going to be romance. This is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. Felicity Fizzy Chin is lost. Sure, she's got an incredible career as a beloved romance novelist with a slew of bestsellers under her belt. But when she's asked to give a commencement address, it hits her. She hasn't been practicing what she's preached. Fizzy hasn't ever really been in love. Lust? Definitely. But that swoon-worthy can't stop thinking about him all-encompassing feeling? Nope, nothing. What happens when the optimism she spent her career encouraging in readers starts to feel like a lie? Connor Prince, documentary filmmaker and single father, loves his work in large part because it allows him to live near his daughter. But when his profit-minded boss orders him to create a reality show, putting his job on the line, Connor is out of his element. Desperate to find his romantic lead, a chance run-in with an exasperated Fizzy offers Connor the perfect solution. What if he could show the queen of romance herself falling head over heels for all the world to see? Fizzy gives him a hard pass unless he agrees to her list of demands. When he says yes and production on The True Love Experiment begins, Connor wonders if that perfect match will ever be the cue cards for him too. Oh, this is the same character from the soulmate equation apparently. I haven't read that one yet, so, you know. Well, y'all, that is all for this week. Maybe you found something new and exciting that you want to check out, or now know that a sequel book that you were looking forward to is actually coming out, so you can go pick it up. If you haven't yet, you can go check out my April wrap-up, or any of the unboxings, vlogs, reviews. One should really be coming up soon. And if you're enjoying my content, consider subscribing so that you can see the future reviews, vlogs, videos that are coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.